What if you happen to be in the texture painting stage of a project and find yourself needing to go back and make some corrective edits to the mesh itself? Or perhaps you need to go back and make some additional sculpting edits. How would you go about doing that inside 3D Coat? Well, one option is to send your mesh to your host 3D application using the AppLink Connection plugin, perform your modeling edits there, and then get it right back into the same workspace without any real fuss. So that's one good option you can always turn to. The other option is obviously to stay inside of 3D Coat and perform those changes here. I'm going to do just a little bit of a project-based walkthrough where I'm going to perform a few modeling edits inside the Retopo workspace so that you can get an idea of what tools are available to you there for the given task, and also do a little bit of extra work in the Sculpt Room. And when we're done, we want to be able to get the resulting changes back into this workspace without losing any of our texture work, especially our layers. So to get started, if I want to hide additional objects, I could hide or unhide them here in a paint object section. This particular model is just seen as one unified mesh. However, I can hide based on the UV map, the surface materials. I'm going to step on over into the Retopo workspace, and by going to the Retopo menu and clicking on Use Visible Paint Objects as Retopo Mesh, it's going to bring a copy of what is visible inside the paint workspace so that I can work on this mesh independent of the original paint object. And again, once I'm done, all I'm going to do is replace the mesh, and it's going to leave the paint layers intact. So now that I have this copy here inside the workspace, I can hide the original here in the Paint Objects panel. If you don't have this in your workspace, you can always bring it up through the Windows menu, Pop-ups, Paint Objects, or Surface Materials. Once you dock it where you like in the UI, each time you come back to 3D Coat, it will remain in place. Okay, I could go back to the Paint Room and hide it here. Alright, so in the upper left hand corner we have this drop list which makes our UVs available, where we can select the individual UV maps, we can add UV maps and so on, but I'll select the body so I can work on it. And I'm going to click on the Retopo Objects tab. So let's repose the arm just a little bit. With the select tool active, I want to switch to faces. In the E-panel, I can choose a draw mode like freeform lasso. Let me redo that. I hit the E key to bring the E-panel to me. Just choose a brush. Just double click on one of these parts and that will select all contiguous faces. So once done, we'll click the transform tool. And I typically like it oriented in local space, so you can click this auto fit in local space. That's a new addition recently. But let's try to center mass. I'm going to hold down the shift key to move the gizmo on the fly. Still holding down the shift key. Alright, so let's go ahead and rotate. And we could just continue doing that in order to repose this character. So I'll hit escape. Now, as of this recording, there is no soft or gradient selection that's been requested, and hopefully that will be forthcoming in a future build. But for now, I just wanted to mention that's not available in this workspace, but I will show how we can repose both the Sculpt object and the Retopo object at the same time inside the Sculpt workspace. Alright, so let's do a little bit of modeling work. I'm going to hit the escape key to drop the selection as well. So escape the first time will drop the transform tool, escape the second time will drop the selection. So I'm still in the select tool. I'll select these faces, hit my hotkey for the transform tool, and I can actually use this tool to commit extrusions by clicking this button. Now I don't see anything happening, but once I move these faces out, you can see it's extruding. I'll scale it in just a bit. If I hit the enter key, I can extrude once more. So hitting the enter key is the same as clicking the commit extrusion button. I'll hit escape to drop the tool. And now what I want to do is create a few vents in this upper section. So I'm going to hit escape to drop those faces. And I'm going to invoke the measure tool. I can click our first point. Let's say about 2.75. So I'll hit escape to drop that initial line, and I can come over to the tool options panel, check fixed length, and enter the value here numerically. So I'll click. I'm going to hit escape to finish the initial line. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap there. I hit escape again. Do the same thing right there. I hit escape. This just allows me to add a little bit of precision. Okay. So now this option, show in other tools, will allow me to utilize these as guides, to which I can also snap if I check snap to guides. And I can change the color of the lines if I want. So let's go ahead and switch to the add and split tool. And what I need to do is click on any edge that I intersect, because 3D Coat, at least as of this recording, will not cut across an edge. You actually have to click on it. What I'll do here is I'll undo. It's going to be a little bit difficult to do. Right click on that point and I can drag it down. Okay, so let's go to select tool, vertices mode, transform tool. I'll scale all these out. I can go ahead and go back to the measure tool and clear all these guides. Or I can save them. let's go ahead and clear those. Use the move tool. I think I'm just going to weld these. Right click and drag this edge up. Okay. Select tool, faces, transform tool, commit extrusion, escape, switch to edges. All right, at this juncture, we're done modeling here in the Retopo workspace. I just wanted to show some of the tools that you can use. We're going to pick up in the next video where we're going to add a few accessories here on the chest piece and maybe a little bit of sculpting on the face plate, then posing. And yeah, we'll pick up in the Sculpt Room in the next video, so stay tuned.